Hello, everyone. Kim Victoria here again. And today I want to talk texture. So, rubber stampers, listen up. And actually, junk journalers and anyone who likes to create their own textures on paper. I mean, I've got a whole lot of fun stuff here. So, let me show you what you can do. For these demonstrations, I'm using the large sketch pad and I'm just going to show you what these things can do. And I'm using these Memento inks because they're water-based. And that's a real advantage if you get inky fingers because this washes off with soap and water. It's really, really easy. If you're using a permanent dye ink, I do recommend you wear some gloves because that could take a day or two to wash off. So anyway, let's get started here with, these are some different foam packaging items. So this one is very textural, and if I just press straight into the ink and down, I get this, just a real kind of a scrubby look. I hope you can see that okay. But you can also rub it and you get this wonderful kind of antiquing textural appearance. Same thing with this one. This one is a little bit finer foam. It's a little bit softer. So it gets a little more dense texture, but it also creates a nice scrubber to get the antique look, but it's more dense. So I think I like this one better for getting kind of a vintage foxing kind of antique look. This one I did in the previous video, I used it as a heart shape, but when I just stamp with it directly, I get this little donut-y shape. This one's a better donut. But also you can use the edge. You can roll it in your ink pad and then roll it down and you get that kind of a line. And of course, this is just one of those little donuts. It comes with the CDs. This is, again, it's that foam. It's very, it's similar to this. So that's what you get with some foam things. So if you look for some foam packaging, this is a result that you can get with these. In this next group, we have the kinds of things that you get wrapped around fruits and vegetables, these various mesh bags and things like that. And they're very much like fishnet. Now, it'd be great to experiment with these more. I haven't done much, and I want to do a shout out to my friend Lori, who suggested that I bring this one up too, because it really is a good one. So what I did with this really fine mesh one, it's a very fine expandable mesh. I think garlic came in this one. And I just put the discard card in there, pressed it on the ink pad, and just pushed it down. And it's kind of hard because it's a very gentle kind of texture, but it's really nice. You can also scrub with it and you get this. And you can also kind of get a look at some of this fishnet kind of look. This wasn't easy to do. What I did was I wrapped it around one of my acrylic blocks that I do rubber stamping with. Just wrapped it around and kind of held it there and brought the ink pad to the mesh and then put it down. But I didn't get a very strong texture. You might want to experiment with that. But the other thing is that you can just simply wad it up. You get this little wad, put it on your ink pad, and you can press or you can scrub. So these are the kinds of textures. So again, this is just another way of getting some of that vintagey look. And it's also really good for doing the edges of your papers. Same thing with this. I tried pressing it and it's just a little bit flimsy for that. But it, again, is really good for either pressing or scrubbing. This gives you a nice cloudy kind of look. So this is another group of textures that you might enjoy playing with. This is the direct stamping group. So here we go with that toe separator again. And I just thought I would do that because I'd talked about it, where you can press it into the ink. And again, what's nice about these water-based inks, any of them, the Tim Holtz Distress and those types of inks, they're all, when they're water-based, you can just take an item like this to the sink and wash it off. So you can change colors, no problem. Again, here's that cap, and you just press it in the ink and you get that kind of impression. Look for different caps. Of course, good old, this is one of those plastic corks, not cork. And this is a little sleeve from a pen that ran out of ink, and I took the sleeve off, and it really is a plastic. It's very soft, so it makes fun little circles. Here's using the other side of a cap, not the ring, but the top of it. You get some impressions. Here's our little triangular piece again, pressing this side in, or just sliding it along. I use this edge to create those. And here we go with our friendly old, this card is going to have to get discarded after all these demonstrations. So look at these cool lines you can get. You can kind of go sideways with it too and get kind of that bleed off. So here we go. This is this group, which is for rubber stampers or anybody who just wants to get this kind of texture. On to the next. So I'd like to show you real quick how I made these fun little silly daubers, and they're getting kind of ragged. I need to make some new ones. And the nice thing is that they're absolutely free. So you can just make one for every color group. And let's go ahead and do that. And what you need is a dryer sheet, some of that fiber that comes in vitamin bottles, or you can get them as a bag for cosmetics. Yeah, so here we go. Okay, so now you've got a bit of a handle, and it's very firm. It makes it nice that way. And I have some cardstock here, so I can show you a couple of different things you can do with them. And they do wear out after a time, as you saw with the other ones. And you just press in and you get a little ink on there. And there's a couple of different ways you can use them. You can scoot them in from the edge while you're, and just use a light hand, and you can go in a circular motion. You can get some different textures that way. Most of the time, though, I do it this way, which is what you do with most daubers. These are a little tougher than the foam daubers that you can buy. So they're nice that way because they're tougher. You can just do your edging like that. You can also, of course, do some little pressing down. There's a lot of little fun things you can do with it. And just scrub it on and get some different things. So that's how I like to use these. And so as I said, I'm going to make some for every color. And it's just something else you can play around with. Okay, so there are my silly little dauber thingies. And last but certainly not least for today is, of course, bubble wrap. Now, bubble wrap can do a lot of things similar to some of the other things I showed you. Here we just have normal, this is how you get it, bubble wrap. It have not popped it. So, of course, you get the bubbles. And depending on how much ink, that's your different things. This is all, packing material. This one has a little bit different look to it. So first stamping, second, and so forth, just, stamping it off. This was a little bit different material I found in some packaging, and it's a much more subtle design. I'll bring that up close in a minute. And this was rather an interesting little piece of packaging. I cut it off of, it was one of those shrinked kinds of things, but it's very, very textural, and it got much more of a dotty appearance. So let's see if I can bring that up a little bit so you can kind of see what's going on there. Just a little bit. Now, finally, with bubble wrap, one of the things that I've been using it for years is popped, and using it popped. So all of these bubbles have been popped, and I wad it up and create kind of a little bit of a handle, a little bit of a poof, kind of similar to what I was doing with these, except I do it fresh every time because it's very random that way. And let's grab another piece of cardstock because this'll show it really well. You just daub it on the ink pad, and again, you can get kind of that kind of texture. If you go very light-handed, it'll be very much like foxing. Old books that were made with pulp paper start developing the little brown flecks and everything. And that's what's causing that antique look. It's the lignins in the wood pulp that has acid in it, so it starts to decay the paper. So you can do the same thing with this as you come in from the outside, and you can get an edging on your cardstock with you, a little bit of a ghost coming in. You can also do it this way. So if all you have is bubble wrap, you can get the antique foxing, you can get this kind of edging, you can come in from the side, you can do this kind of thing. You can scrub. I use it all those different ways, and I really appreciate, look at the kind of that cloud formation. Bubble wrap is really cool. The other thing that's great about bubble wrap is that it doesn't absorb any of the ink. It's, it's just a hard plastic, so it just all comes off. You don't waste as much ink as with some of the other more absorbent materials. So I hope that this helps you in your play. And if you're a rubber stamper, I mean, it is just so much fun to work with all of these other materials. And as I said, your distress inks, your Ranger inks, this is just what I picked up at the moment. I have that also the Ranger inks that are really, really nice, the Tim Holtz. But I like them all. These are water-based. Again, my fingers are going to come clean when I go put a little soap and water on them. So here we go. There's all these fun textures that you can do with found objects. Okay, so have fun with that. Thanks for watching. I hope to see you in the next video. Bye for now.